Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to another edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we're gonna have another good episode for you this evening as we talk about this unfortunate 27-23 loss to the Los Angeles Rams that pulls our record down to 8-7 on the year, on a bit of a slide, losing 3 in a row, and now it all comes down to week 17 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if there wasn't a must-win game before, it is now. This is definitely going to be a must-win game for the Tennessee Titans to even get into the playoffs. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but I definitely want to talk about this game a little bit more because I didn't get a chance to do an actual reaction show because I was out of town in Baltimore, Maryland, getting to visit my mother for Christmas and my brother. So again, I hope everybody had a wonderful Merry Christmas and got to be with your families and everything, and got a few gifts that you liked and things that you wanted. But unfortunately, as others may have alluded to, on Sunday, the Tennessee Titans left us all with lumps of coal because of the loss. There was a lot of things, quite a few things that went well. There were a lot of things that didn't go well in this particular game. And so let's go ahead and get right into it, and I'll give you my thoughts on this game. First off, I thought the offense played a little bit better. They showed signs of life, especially when Marcus was running the no huddle. And it wasn't necessarily like a hurry up no huddle. It wasn't anything like that. It was basically Marcus was calling the plays at the line of scrimmage. It would line up, had a play in mind, see what the defense was looking like, and then would change the play from there. And it seemed like that was more effective with Marcus doing it that way. And then they would struggle whenever they had to huddle up and old dinosaur Robisky had to call the play. So this game basically showed the inadequate ways of Terry Robisky and why he needs to be gone. He doesn't need to be offensive coordinator of this team anymore because he's just not the guy. He's just not it. It's not working. But I mean, Marcus had his triumphs during the game. He didn't throw for a touchdown. He threw for 275 yards, going 22 of 39. But he did struggle early in the game as well as in the later stages of the game. And this is what I was talking about. Of course, wasn't able to read one of his receivers very well. Ended up throwing an interception on his first pass on the first drive, which gave the Rams, I believe that was 8 straight games where they caused a turnover on an opening drive. They're pretty good at that, very opportunistic, and that was something that they did. And I want to say that was the Titans' only turnover of the game, and it proved to be a big one because I think they ended up getting a touchdown on their first drive. So that was a pretty unfortunate set of circumstances that happened there with Marcus. But for the most part, I think Marcus did pretty well, but there were some throws he was off on, some things that he could have did better. He was a little indecisive in the pocket at times. He didn't know if he wanted to, pass or who he was going to go to or if he wanted to run. It looked like there were times where it looked like he was going to start to try to run, but then kind of backed away and decided to not run. And you need your quarterback to be sure on his decisions. If you're going to run, Marcus, run. Don't hesitate. And I think that's where a lot of his problems came. Maybe due to the injuries he had, he was hesitating on running some instead of just going with it, going with his instincts. And that kind of cost him at times of this game. Other things that I saw was, I think for the most part, the defense did a lot better than anybody would have anticipated. I think a lot of people thought with the number one scoring offense coming in with the Rams averaging well over 30 points a game that the Titans were going to get blown out. For the most part, the defense really did pretty well in holding off Jared Goff and the Rams as much as they could. Even though Jared Goff did throw for over 300 yards in this game, and Todd Gurley pretty much had himself a day. We knew that Todd Gurley was very, very good at what he does as far as being a running back. We knew he was a very, very good player. He had over 100 yards, 150 yards receiving, and over 100 yards rushing. He actually had a pretty good day. But I think despite all of that, holding the Rams to just 27 points actually is a pretty good thing with everything that happened. This game could have really went a lot worse, and it didn't. So I do give hats off to the defense and really off to Wesley Woodyard and Avery Williamson, both playing through the flu in this game. And Wesley Woodyard actually had an impact on a play where Jarrell Casey sacked, and I'm going to say sacked even though they didn't officially label it as a sack. He sacked Jared Goff, caused a fumble, and Wesley Woodyard scooped and scored in the end zone. So the defense actually got the team off to a good start. But I want to go back to the offense a bit. Good games by a couple of receivers. Eric Decker, who had 6 catches for 73 yards on 10 targets. And Corey Davis, I believe, had 6 catches for 91 yards on, I want to say, 7 or 8 targets. So it was by far one of Corey Davis's best games. Probably was his best game as a Titan so far. And he showed glimpses of what he can be in the future of this offense with a better coach. And if they scheme him open, he could be very dangerous as a receiver. So I'm looking for better things coming next year for Corey Davis. We'll see if they keep Eric Decker around. Didn't really hear much from Rashard Matthews or Delaney Walker, and I don't know what's going on with Taywan Taylor. I mean, I guess the coaching staff just does not trust him, and probably neither does Marcus, because he only got targeted once. He dropped the pass he probably should have caught in between 3 defenders, and he hasn't really gotten the ball much at all in the second half of the year. So I don't know what's going on. They're really going to have to develop Taywan Taylor and get him back in the fold. And I think another thing he needs to do, get rid of number 13, because I believe that number 13 is a cursed number. Kendall Wright had, he wore 13 his whole career, but in the latter parts of it, he struggled. And I think that's happening to Taywan Taylor. Maybe the curse of the 13 needs to go. Maybe that's something that needs to happen there. Also, like I said, the defense did play well. They did not do particularly well against the screen pass. And yeah, I know how I feel about Bryce McCain. I think Bryce McCain sucks. He did it again today, Sunday, with a defensive pass interference call, which basically gave them an automatic first down. Looked like about a gain of 30 to 40 yards on that. And then Jonathan Cyprien, I didn't see much out of him. I really don't think he needs to be back next year, and I could really see us going into the draft looking for a safety either in free agency or in the draft, and I think there will be a couple of good safeties that could be available either in the first or second round. Definitely in the first round, I think if Derwin James is sitting there in the late 20s, I could definitely see us picking him up in the draft. Or maybe a Deshaun Elliott from Texas. He might be a pretty decent safety. There may be a couple of safeties in the free agent market. Of course, that'll be something that I'll definitely look at in the offseason. So that'll be definitely something to keep an eye on. But Jonathan Cyprien is just terrible. I don't think Cyprien was very good. That was a bad pick by John Robinson, and I agree. And then also Bryce McCain, this is the last year of his contract, so he'll be gone after this year anyway. So I'm not really worried about that. The officiating was bad also. I think they, really messed some things up for the Titans. There was a couple of calls that should not have happened. Mainly the onside kick that the Titans successfully did basically, excuse me, basically catching the Rams off guard. And what ended up happening was they basically tried to come out and say the Rams called a timeout, even though, while they were talking to McVay, he clearly was like, I didn't call no timeout. I didn't call no timeout of any kind. And what they should have did was they should have said, well, if he didn't call a timeout and we put it in play, put the ball in play, the Titans should have gotten the football. And that was a very bad call among all others that did happen in this particular ball game. Another thing that I think was bad, again, clock management. I just don't think Mike Mularkey is very good at managing the clock, especially in late game situations. Now, he did pretty good with the challenges. He challenged a couple of plays. They both went in his favor. He got a third challenge. But as far as clock management, not very good. But on the bright side of all of that, even though we still fell after a good game, the playoffs are still upon us. And so what we got to do basically, and this is the only scenario that matters. And I'm actually pulling that up so I have my scenarios going on now. But one of the main scenarios, and this is the easy scenario, beat the Jaguars. If you win, you're in. Plain and simple. Don't need no help from any other team. Win, you're in. Now, we'll be in at 9-7. Now, if Baltimore loses to the Cincinnati Bengals, we could move up to the 5 seed because we will both be at 9-7, and we have the tiebreaker over the Baltimore Ravens. So we will end up being the 5 seed and probably end up going to Kansas City to play the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think that would be a favorable matchup. I think we could beat Kansas City and Kansas City. But I think either or, whether we go back to Jacksonville or go to Kansas City, I think we have a shot in the wild card game of winning and getting to the divisional round. Now, once we get to the divisional round, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll probably end up, if we're a 5 seed, we'll probably end up going to New England if we beat Kansas City. If we beat Jacksonville, we could end up going to Pittsburgh. And, of course, in the divisional round, I would give us a better chance against Pittsburgh. Not much of a chance, but I would give us a better chance in Pittsburgh than in Foxborough. So we'll have to see from there. But it's basically win, we're in. Or the only other thing that needs to happen, if we lose, we would need the Buffalo Bills to lose their game to the Miami Dolphins and the LA Chargers to lose their game to the Oakland Raiders to get in. So if both of those teams lose, we're in the playoffs no matter what happens. But we're definitely in if we win our game. So that's what we would have to do, and we would eliminate Buffalo and the Chargers at the same time. And Baltimore is pretty much in too. I think the only way that they would, I'm not sure how, Baltimore would not get in. I think they're pretty much in too. So those are the scenarios that we would need to clinch a playoff spot. And that's, again, we win, we're in, no questions asked, or Buffalo and the Chargers have to lose for us to get into the playoffs. I would rather us win our way in and not backdoor our way in thanks to a couple of teams losing. I just think that's the best way to go when it comes to that. And again, I mentioned it earlier, we just had too many mistakes at bad times. You had some bad plays by Marcus late in the game, a little bit of indecisiveness. You had the defensive pass interference call on McCain. You had a false start call on the tight end when you're first and goal pretty much at the half-yard line. And then, of course, we end up getting backed up. Marcus gets sacked. We end up having to kick a field goal out of it. So there were definitely some mistakes at the worst times. But it was good to see some signs of life from the offense as a whole. And now we get to go in and now decide who is our Week 16 Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week. And there were a few guys that were deserving of that award. I think a nominee for Brandon Bowers said Corey Davis, who did have a very good game of 6 catches of 91 yards. Probably his best game as a Titan. Another guy that I would probably put as a nominee, Eric Decker, who had a very good game as well. Adoree Jackson could get some consideration. I mean, he did have a very nice very nice kickoff return. And I think he did okay on punt returns as well. And so I think there was pretty good choices there. But I think the two-tone blue star of the week, without a doubt, is going to be my guy, 84, Corey Davis. And, I mean, he showed exactly some flashes that if he keeps this up, he could be a receiver to be reckoned with in the future going forward. I think Corey Davis could be a very good receiver. And with the right offensive setting, if instead of him having to be contested catches, if they just scheme him open on plays where he can run after the catch and just get it to where he gets to an open space of a soft coverage or something like that, he could do some massive damage and could rack up a lot of catches. So I think that's something that he has to do. And I think a full off season for him and Mariota together, they need to become best friends, him and Corey Davis. Those two need to know each other like the back of their hand. They need to be like Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. They need to be like Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. So that whenever the chips are down, Marcus Mariota is always looking for 84, and he can get to him. So, two-tone blue star of the week for the first time, Corey Davis. But whenever there is a star of the week, there's also a dunce of the day. And we do have a few usual suspects. We have a usual suspect in Bryce McCain, as usual. I would definitely say Jonathan Cyprien is another. And, you know, I would also have to put some blame on the pass rush. We didn't really get any sacks on Jared Goff as much. And, you know, I would definitely have to say another Dunce of the Day nominee would have to be Delanie Walker. I mean, he's disappeared in the last few games. But Brandon came in and said DeMarco Murray. I just think DeMarco Murray is hurt. I just think, you know, he had 15 carries, 48 yards. But he, of course, ended up being taken off the field due to what they were calling a LCL or MCL sprain. We're not sure if it's a tear because Adam Schefter reported it was a tear, but Mike Mularkey was coming back and saying he wasn't told it was a tear, and they have him as day-to-day. You know, that's one of Mularkey's favorite terms for injury, saying he will be a game-time decision. I don't think DeMarco Murray's playing in this game, and I think he might be done for the entire season, even if we make the playoffs. But I would have to say the dunce of the day would have to go to Bryce McCain because he is just terrible. I mean, when they said Logan Ryan was not going to go, I knew that was bad news because that means the painful Bryce McCain will have to start, and he didn't do very well. Ty Smith, another corner, actually had a better game than Bryce McCain did, and that's really saying something. So looking for another corner might come up high on the priority list because, I mean, we're definitely going to need a pass rusher. We're probably going to need somebody to play in the middle. We're going to need a strong safety, and now it looks like we're going to need another corner. Definitely. Maybe not one that has to start on the outside, but if you can, then you can put Logan Ryan down primarily in the slot, and you look a lot better that way. So, a Dunce of the Day award, Bryce McCain. And so, after week 17 and after the season is over, I'm just giving y'all a heads up. We're going to have nominees. We need nominees for the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Year. That'll be out of the whole season. So we're definitely going to need Two-Tone Blue Star of the Year. Now, of course, we already know who the Dunce of the Year is going to be, and that is going to be when I will hope to say former Tennessee Titan offensive coordinator Terry Robisky. I am praying that that is what I get to say in maybe another week or two, is that. But I also need a nominee for a player who could be the Dunce of the Year as well. And I'm pretty sure there could be quite a few nominations for that. So, Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week is Corey Davis. The Dunce of the Day, Bryce McCain. And so, before we go into Pick My Brain, I want to definitely give a shout out to a couple of sponsors of Titans in Truth. First and foremost, to Rose Jewels Boutique and my girl Allison Conley. Check her out again for rosejewelsboutique.com. She may have some nice stuff from Christmas, and she could definitely hook you up with something nice for Christmas at a pretty good price. And you can definitely check that out, ladies, for jewelry. You want some good jewelry? If your man didn't hook you up for Christmas, it's not too late. Fellas, if you still want to get that nice gift for your lady, it ain't too late. You might get back out of the doghouse or get out of jail. And also, fellas, if you're looking for jewelry, she could definitely hook up something for you as well. So check her out at Rose Jewel Boutique on Facebook and Instagram at Rose Jewels Boutique. Also, Craftgasmic Creations, and you can check that out with my cousin LaCrystal, making those shirts, and I'm gonna be having a shirt brought to me. I may have it as soon as the game Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. If I may not be in Nashville for the game. I may actually be in Memphis, but I will be watching the game with the Titans fan club of Memphis. If I am in Memphis for the game, you know, if I'm watching that game, that's where I will be. And I will definitely put some of them on the Facebook Titans and Truth fan page, so you get to see some of that going on as well. So, those are just some shout outs. Craftgasmic Creations, also on Facebook as well as Instagram as well at Craftgasmic Creations. So definitely check that out. But it is time for Pick My Brain. Pick My Brain. So we're going to go into that, and I'm definitely going to answer as many questions as I can as quickly as possible. And also later on, we're going to have the Blu Bombshell question. I want to just get your thoughts on this entire season as a whole as we get ready to close out 2017. And hopefully it is not the last game of 2017. So let's get into that and get some questions on Pick My Brain. And so here's Brandon Bowers. He has a question of, with our season on collapse, almost like the Vols, we play hard all year. Do we deserve to go to the playoffs? And without heart, do we just skate by, or do we fight tooth and nail to prove that we belong? I mean, the way that we've played and lost some of these close games, the team themselves, I don't think deserves to go to the playoffs. Now, if they win this game, if they beat the Jags, especially if they beat their starters, as Doug Marrone claims he's going to do, which I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's gonna rest some of his starters. He ain't gonna play all of his starters because they have nothing to play for. But I would rather them earn their way into the playoffs, win the game, and get in that way. I would not like us going into the playoffs if we got help from the other teams and we lost to the Jags. I would feel like we wouldn't deserve it at that point. I mean, for the last few weeks, I don't think we deserve it, but I would like to see us in the playoffs by winning the game. And I think many of the Titan fans who have went through hell with this team over the last 10 years, myself included, I think we deserve to go to the playoffs. I think we deserve to be able to say, hey, we got a playoff game to watch. So I really do think that for the fans' sake, I think they deserve to go to the playoffs. Tyler Westbrook comes in with his usual batch of questions, which I like, so I'm going to go through them as quick as I can. If Murray doesn't play, do you think Henry will come out with a big game? Well, Henry played well the last game. I believe he had 16 carries for 90 yards, and he bulldozed Jalen Ramsey. I think, and this will be one of my Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory, I think the physical nature, if we play physical, we can beat the Jaguars, because the Jaguars like to come after the quarterback. They don't necessarily like to stop the run. Although Marcel Darius did not play in the last game, and he will be in this one. So Marcel Darius is going to be a problem, but I think if we're more physical than them, Derrick Henry could have a pretty nice day running the rock, without a doubt. Number 2, the same big matchup as Mariota versus Jacksonville's secondary. If you're playing against Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye, yes, it is a big matchup. And, I mean, Marcus had a little bit of success against both of them, but I think Marcus would just have to be smart with the football. Again, like the Rams and like Seattle that we played weeks ago, they're opportunistic. They want to force turnovers. But if we play smart, we might be able to do some things in the middle of the field, and we will be able to take advantage of them. Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye are 2 great corners, but they're not perfect corners. They can be defeated. And so there are some times where we can take advantage of both of those guys. Number 3, if we get in the playoffs and have to play Jacksonville again, what percentage would you give the Titans walking out of Jacksonville with a W? I would say if we win this game, we have some momentum and some confidence going into that game. I would say we have a 60% chance of beating Jacksonville in Jacksonville. They'll be reeling from that loss. They wouldn't want to go in losing 2 in a row. And I mean, if they do, you know, it'll be on their mind that they weren't able to beat us at all this season. So, you know, even though it would be hard to beat 3 times in a row, the last time we beat the Jags 3 times in a row, we went to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I think it is definitely about a 60% chance we could beat the Jaguars in Jacksonville. I think we would have a lot of confidence going into that game. Number 4, other than play calling, who needs to step up big in this game? He says offensive line and Marcus Mariota. I think Mariota does need to have a big game. A nice game would be good from him. I would like to see Corey Davis kind of abuse either A.J. Bouye or Jalen Ramsey some. But I think this is going to be a big game for the offensive line, because they're going to have to block Ngakoue. They're going to have to block Malik Jackson. They're going to have to block Calais Campbell. And now they're going to have to block Marcel Darius. So I would say, yes, the biggest step up has to be from the offensive line. They're going to have to play big in this football game. And then also I would say the front 7 shut down Leonard Fournette. They're going to have to stop him if he does play. So I would say both of the trenches is where I think the big step up has to happen, both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Let's see, number 5, hearing rumors and seeing articles of Bruce Arians being a good fit. Thoughts? I have heard that Bruce Arians could be leaving Arizona at the end of the year, parting ways from the Arizona Cardinals. And I'll be perfectly honest. If I'm John Robinson, I would be at least talking to Bruce Arians and seeing if he is leaving Arizona. If he is, and he wants to come here and coach this team, very offensively innovative, we know he's a good coach. He's got the credentials to back it up. But I know also there may be some health concerns and everything as well. He's a little bit older than Mike Mularkey. But I would say if Bruce Arians is available for a head coach, I would scoop him up immediately. Bruce Arians would be a terrific hire as the next Titans head coach because I think he will leave Dick LeBeau alone to run the defense, and he will run the offense. And I think with a guy like Marcus Mariota, we've seen Bruce Arians basically turn the Colts into a winner with Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton. He did the same thing out there in Arizona with Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald. And, he made John Brown, an unknown name, into a nice piece as a receiver. David Johnson, one heck of a running back. I think Bruce Arians plays to his players' strengths, and he would be an excellent fit here if he was available. But we don't know what's going to happen with that yet. I don't know if Amy Adams Strunk is quick enough to just let go and break up with Mike Mularkey. Because it seems like her and Mike Mularkey are like this. It seems like they are secretly dating each other. And I just don't know if Amy Adams Strunk will let John Robinson break them up. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I do think Bruce Arians would be a hell of a hire if he was available. Last but not least, number 6, who is at biggest risk in this game other than Robisky? I think there's a lot of coaches on the staff coaching for their jobs. I would say Sylvester Croom, the running back coach. I would say, Jason Michael may need to show maybe he could be worthy as an offensive coordinator. He needs to do something. Also, Frisman Jackson, the wide receivers coach. I can see him gone. I can see maybe something happening in the secondary part. I think Steve Hoffman, the special teams coordinator, could be coaching for his job. Players, I think Kevin Dodd is at risk of being gone. But I liked what I saw in the game against the Rams with him. They played him more with his hand in the dirt. Maybe they finally figure something out with Kevin Dodd playing him with his hand in the dirt. If they keep doing that, maybe Dodd could stay, but I don't know. I think Avery Williamson, this could be his last game as a Titan. He's in a contract year. I think Cyprian is at risk. I really do. Bryce McCain, I think, is gone. I think another guy that could be at risk. Philip Supernall, Rashard Matthews better come up with something. I hear some radio guys think that they should get rid of him. So I think there's quite a few players and coaches that are playing for their jobs or coaching for their jobs Sunday. So definitely I can see that happening. Let's see, I'm looking at some other questions. Butchie comes in with a good question. If we barely beat Jacksonville's backups and the team still celebrates by dumping Gatorade on Mularkey and Robisky, how would you feel? If we barely beat their backups, like if we didn't blow out their backups and we just barely beat them and I see them celebrating like they won a Super Bowl, I would be a little bit concerned because I'm like, you beat their backups. Yes, you got in, but if it was like a 13-10 or 20-17 over their backups, yeah, I would be okay with the victory. I don't think they need to be celebrating like they won a Super Bowl. Now, if they did it like 44-14 or something like that, then I'm like, okay, you could probably do that. But you still ain't won none because you beat the backups, not the starters. So I wouldn't feel too good if it was a barely win and they did that. And he said also, why don't we go for first downs on second down instead of waiting to third down in critical situations? Good question. Again, that is play calling. I would like to see us do a lot more explosiveness on first down because if you can do something explosive on first down, pick up 6 or 7 yards, second down is like 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 3 instead of 2nd and 8. And then you can pick up first downs on second down, and then you can really do some damage there. So I don't know why. I think, again, that's play calling as far as I'm concerned. And they got to quit with this run on first down, gain of maybe a yard, run on second down, loss of 2 yards, third and long pass, and then they got the punt. I don't like that. I don't think they need to be doing it that way. So I do agree with that. I'm trying to see if I had any other questions. Let's see. I think I had. Let me see. Okay, Priscilla comes in saying, will we still have a chance of getting into the playoffs if we beat Jacksonville? Yes, we beat Jacksonville, we're in. We're in the playoffs, no questions asked. If we lose, we got to hope that Baltimore and the Chargers lose. It can't be one of them lose. Both of them would have to lose. Okay, let's see. Looks like that was all the questions that I had. But yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, definitely put them on the YouTube page or also on my Facebook page. I'll try to answer them for you. And again, if you haven't already, share this show. Share this out. Spread the word. Also, comment. Let me know what you think of this show. I haven't gotten a lot of feedback on how the show is because I want to keep getting it better. Give me suggestions on what I can do to be better if it is not better. I'm trying to attract more people. Spread the word so we can attract more subscribers. What can I do on that end? You know, I'm always trying to look for ways to get better. So definitely do that as well. But now we need to go ahead and quickly preview the Jaguars game on Sunday. And you know, the Jags coming in. They're 10-5. They've already won the division, unfortunately. And, you know, they're locked into the third seed. They can't do anything else. So they really don't have anything to play for. And they could be playing their backups, even though Doug Marrone came out and said, we're all in, we're playing starters, and I'm not resting anybody. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's not going to rest starters. I mean, you're not going to be that stupid to risk possibly injury to Leonard Fournette or Calais Campbell or Marcel Darius or Jalen Ramsey with the playoffs coming up. Although if I am the Titans, I wouldn't be necessarily trying to hurt them, but hey, if an injury happens, better for us. So, you know, this is a very big game. It's win or in. It's do or die. This is our last chance, which we thought we wouldn't have a chance at it, but we have our opportunity. So this is what we got to do. These are my Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory. And this will be, I'm hoping this is not my last 4 points to victory of the year. But here we go. First off, we need to be physical for 60 minutes on both sides of the ball. The Jacksonville Jaguars have speed and athleticism. They like to be physical, aggressive, fast, and athletic. They don't like it if somebody does it to them. So we got to be physical. We got to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. The defense needs to shut down Leonard Fournette, get after him, hit him in the backfield early and often, and then let Blake Bortles try to win the game for us. We've seen when that happens, he'll turn the ball over. And he'll turn it over many times. He'll give us gifts. So that's what we got to do. We got to just shut down Leonard Fournette and let Blake Bortles give us a few gifts if he plays. Now, there is a chance that he may not play. But again, that's if Doug Marrone decides to pull his starters. Now, number 2. On offense, no turnovers. Do y'all hear me? No turnovers. Do not turn the ball over against this defense because they are very good at turning them into points. And on the other side, like I said before, force Blake Bortles into some mistakes. I would love to see Adoree Jackson get his first interception. And I think that can happen. And, I mean, the last time we faced the Jaguars, what did Doug Marrone come out and say? We need more explosive plays. That played right into our hands. That is exactly what we wanted, because we ended up getting 2 interceptions out of it. So force play Bortles into some turnovers and don't turn the ball over yourself. Now, number 3 and number 4 are kind of together. First off, play to win the game. I am so sick and tired of this playing not to lose mentality that we've had. And this is why I think I'm out on malarkey, because it seems like they play it too conservative, too safe. They play not to lose instead of playing to win. When you play not to lose, you lose. So go out there, be aggressive, play to win, and just give it all you got. Don't hold anything back. You do that, you win, you're in. And last but not least, I'm calling out us, Titan Nation. I'm calling all of us out, myself included. No matter if you're watching this game at Nissan Stadium, if you can't get to Nissan Stadium, get your butt there to watch this game. If I might be going to Memphis, if anybody wants my ticket that's in the Nashville area, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you at a decent price. I'll sell it. I'll go for 70 on this one right now, but I am willing to negotiate. That's if I go to Memphis. If not, I'll be there. But if not, definitely talk to me. I got a ticket available. If anything, get a ticket and get to the game if you can. If not, if you're out of town, scream your tail off from wherever you are. If I'm in Memphis, I guarantee you, I'm going to be cheering. I'm going to be cheering my tail off with the Titans fan club of Memphis. I guarantee you that. And I won't let up at all. So wherever you are, cheer your tail off for this team. They need us now more than ever to get them into the playoffs. We got to do it together. So I'm putting this call out to all Titan fans everywhere. We got to do this together. They need us. We got to step up our game too. So that's exactly what we need to do. And those are my 4 Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory. And now, last but not least, before we get out of here, the Blue Bombshell question that I had was thoughts on the season. And I wanted y'all to give thoughts on what did y'all think of the season as a whole, and what did y'all like, what did you didn't like, anything like that. So here are some thoughts that I had from other people. Tyler comes in and says, well, we should be walking into the playoffs instead of clawing to get in. I think we learned that we are a talented team, but we are held back by poor coaching. I can't disagree with that. Brandon comes in and says, I believe our season is a flop. I cheer my heart out for this team, but I have my heart crushed more than not. Until we clean house, we will always be that team that can't get over the hump. Maybe we should do what the Jags did and just stay horrible for 5 years and build the team we need. Just his opinion. I wouldn't necessarily say be terrible for 5 years, but I do think we need to continue to build. And I think that's why a lot of fans did not buy into this team early on, because they were afraid of a letdown. And unfortunately, that has happened. We got to stop this play not to lose mentality. Play to win. If you do it, they will come. That much I believe. Let's see. Kihai. Mahalo, my brother. Aloha from Hawaii. Definitely says, if Titans lose this game, season should be considered a failure. With all expectations, and coaches should be fired. Huge disappointment if that happens. I'm hoping for a win and then go to Jacksonville and win again. I agree with that. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, Malarkey's job isn't on the line and he shouldn't be fired after this season. And, if we get into the playoffs, we should be okay. This is the way that I look at it. if this had happened where if this, now there are two ways that I would be okay with 8-8 or 9-7 and backing our way in. If after the 2-14 and the 3-13 season, yes, we got to remember where we came from. Now, if we came from 3-13 and maybe went 6-10 last year, and then we came up to 8-8 or 9-7, okay, then I would say, you know what? We're not there at the playoffs yet, but we have steadily made progress. We went from 3 to 6 to 8 or 9. We made progress. Next year we'll be ready to complete for the playoffs. Or if it happened where we started slow, we started off, say, 1-4, 1-5, and then we got to this point where we won like 6-7 games in a row, and we're on the cusp of the playoffs, then I think that might have been okay. And if we were at this point with Deshaun Watson healthy, with Andrew Luck healthy, and we didn't have all the luck come our way, if it happened that way, then I think we might have an excuse to say, you know what, this wasn't as bad of a season as it looked. But I'll be honest, if we finish 8-8 or 9-7 and don't get into the playoffs, I would say if we don't win and get in, it's a massive failure. Even if Buffalo and the Chargers lose and we got into the playoffs at 8-8, I would consider it a massive failure because you had absolutely everything go your way. Anything that you needed to have happen did happen, and you didn't take advantage of it. I mean, and I'm going to read some other thoughts in a minute. I'm just giving mine in the midst of that question. You had the AFC South gift wrapped for you. The powers that be basically wanted to give you the AFC South trophy. They're basically saying, here, take the division trophy. It's yours. You can have it. And it's like the Titans just was like, nah, we don't want it. We don't want it like that. Nah, I don't think we want the division. I don't think we want it that bad. And that's just messed up at how they played it. I mean, you had Deshaun Watson out for the year. You didn't have to play him a second time. Andrew Luck didn't play at all. Colts sucked. The Jaguars lost to Arizona at one point, which we need to have happen. And they lost to San Francisco last week. Had you beat the Rams, this game would have been for the division title. And we would have had a shot at 10-6. And we probably could have gotten in anyway, even before the game started. We could have been fighting for the division had we just did our job, but we didn't. Everybody else did their job. We didn't do ours. And that's why this is such a massive failure. Everything that could have went right did, and we still didn't take advantage of it. That is one of the main reasons why I feel we don't deserve to make the playoffs. Because we had everything go right for us, and we still didn't do it right. And do you think, and I mean, this schedule was easy. You think next year's schedule going to be that easy? Hell no. It's going to be twice as hard. You got the Patriots, the Eagles, the Redskins, and your division games all coming here to Nissan Stadium. Then, including Baltimore, so we're already going to be facing in the AFC alone, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have New England, you're going to have Jacksonville, and you're going to have Baltimore. 3 teams that made the playoffs. And if we don't make the playoffs, either Buffalo or the Chargers, so that could potentially be 4 in the AFC alone, 3 to 4 playoff teams, if that doesn't include us. 3 if it includes us, 4 if we don't make it. Then on the other side, you got the Eagles. So that's 4 or 5 teams. You got the Eagles you got to play. I'm forgetting who else on the other side in the NFC that made the playoffs. But I know it's the Eagles, the Rams, the Vikings that made it. I know Atlanta, New Orleans. But I think the main team on the other side that we have to play that made the playoffs is the Eagles. So you're already going to be facing 4 or maybe even 5 playoff teams next year. So that's going to be hard to do. Then you got the Cowboys who are going to be better. The Giants are probably going to be better. The Bills may get better. The Dolphins may get better. And those are teams that will fight tooth and nail to the end. So it ain't going to get no easier next year. So, I mean, the Titans blew a golden opportunity. And, and that's just my thoughts on the year. And I just didn't like how we didn't take advantage of chances when they were there for us to have. And so I'm trying to get a couple more thoughts. I think I had a few more thoughts in on the end of the year, but I just went ahead and gave my thoughts on that. Let me see. Give me a second. Okay. Here we go. Priscilla basically says, well, I know if it hadn't been for our defense, we would be in really bad shape. Defense improved as a whole. Defense has improved a whole lot. Our offense, on the other hand, I don't feel they came together as a whole and worked together as one. It seemed one week we're good. Next week, what the F is happening? I think we really started going downhill the Thursday night game. Being in the big time, it seemed it messed with Mariota's head. I think in some cases he was afraid to throw because of the interceptions. I'm really impressed with Decker and Matthews. I think they should put Henry in more than they have. And I think that if they sped it up like they was running out of time, maybe they would score more. Seems to do better in the hurry-up situations. Anyway, that was just an opinion. Hope for a win against Jacksonville. Revenge game. Thank you very much for that, Priscilla. Trevor comes and says, impressed with the progress of our defense. Offense massively underperformed. Offensive coaching scheme is very much outdated and obviously ineffective. J-Rob is smart. He's going to make some changes this offseason regardless of what happens Sunday. A squad like the one we have, any good coach can turn into a powerhouse. So yeah, Jeff Fisher made better calls than this. But overall, only the defense has improved. Looking to see a lot more Big 22 as long as he works on his pass blocking. And, I mean, I like all those points. I think the defense as a whole has gotten better. There are a few little parts they need to fix. Pass rushing, another 3-4 defensive end, another middle linebacker, strong safety, and another corner, which I think they can address all of that. And so, but I think defense has gotten a lot better. Offense, I think, needs continuity, and they need a better offensive scheme, in my opinion. So I think if they do those things, I think the offense can be better than what they've shown. But everybody, I'm about to get out of here for the evening. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Titans and Truth. And everybody, let's get it together for Week 17. And let's hope this is not our last game. And hopefully I'll be coming to you next week previewing a playoff game for the Tennessee Titans. So for Titans and Truth, my name is Chris. Everybody, have a happy and blessed coming into the new year, and it might be party time. So let's do it. Titans and Truth, let's tighten up.